Welcome back to session 2 of Answers to Tough Questions, and this is a significant question: is there a God? And this week in our study, we're going to be looking closely at two different Psalms, Psalm 19 and Psalm 111. Psalm 111 is especially one of my favorite, and remember there's over 2,451 Psalms in the book of Psalms, so there's a lot to choose from. But I love the creativity of Psalm 111 because it's actually comprised of 22 lines. So we need to know something about the context first. And each line is actually a Hebrew alphabetic acrostic. So just like if we were doing it in our English, there'd be 26 lines that all begin with the successive letter. First line A, second line B, third line C. It's that way. So if we could read it in the original Hebrew together, there would be something poetic about it. And it's powerful because Psalm 111 talks about the majesty of God's glorious works. But there's a few important footnotes that, again, I want to leave you with as I guide you by the hand in this study. And I want you to jump right over to Psalm 111, verse 2. The Lord's works are great, studied by all who delight in them. Did you know this one psalm is one of the significant passages that gave birth to what we now know today as science? When you study the history of science, and I'm talking about the material sciences, the discipline of science, these were individuals who saw that the Lord's works were great and they wanted to study them. And so it has been documented that this one powerful Hebrew acrostic written hundreds of years ago is what first and foremost inspired inquiring minds to learn more about all of the natural world around us. Isn't that a powerful thought when we answer this question, is there a God? But I want to equip you to have an informed, conversant faith because you do need to remind yourself of the message of culture. And the message of culture is really twofold. Number one, this is the message of culture that we as Christians have to be prepared to answer. There is no God, comma, stupid. Oh yes, that is the message of culture. I am a news contributor with one of the news organizations, and so often I'm sent clips from other shows, and I was sent a clip, and friends, I just have to be honest with you, I wouldn't have believed it if I had not seen it with my own eyes. Richard Dawkins, one of the most prominent atheists in the world, is being interviewed on a nationally televised TV program, and they're talking about stupid Christians who believe there's a God, who believe in talking animals, dead bodies coming back to life. And the interviewer, if I said his name, you would immediately recognize him, cocks his head back. How could anyone be so stupid, Richard? This is on national television. Who is he talking about? He was talking about us, stupid Christians. And I want to ask you a question in this Bible study. Are you going to let someone talk about your faith that way? I'm not, but you are if you remain silent. If you allow those unanswered questions to mute you and spiritually paralyze you. This is a question. We need to wake up. We are living in a post-Christian world. And so this is a very important question. Hey, is there a God? Is there something greater than myself that I can attach my life to? Of course, the second message of culture, I said there were two, was there's nothing special about Jesus. And that's why we're also talking about Jesus in this study quite a bit. You know, Jesus was just a normal guy. People who came later, made him a God. In fact, Jesus was married with, he had a wife, kids, and a mortgage. There's nothing special about Jesus. I'll never forget when our crew at Christian Thinkers, we were interviewing Richard Dawkins' best friend, a guy by the name of Peter Atkins, a chemistry professor at Lincoln College, Oxford. If you know anything about Oxford University, that's where John Wesley graduated from. We asked Peter Atkins on film, what do you think about the fact that your atheism has destroyed the faith of so many people in your class, so many students? Friends, he did not flinch when he looked at the camera. He said, "Oh, it gives me great delight." And we said, "Well, what do you think of people that follow Jesus as their Savior?" He said, well, I think those individuals are just mentally ill. In fact, I'm not a psychiatrist, but Jesus, if he even existed, he was probably gay because he hung out with guys so much. This is an astonishing comment. Astonishing. Jesus, if he even existed, friends, we can know more about Jesus than we can about Alexander the Great and several Roman emperors. So we have to be equipped to answer these astonishing statements from culture. And again, the more I know about my faith, guess what? The more relaxed and comfortable I am to have this kind of faith dialogue. It's not about winning an argument when we're a Christian thinker. It's about winning a soul. So it's absolutely essential that we're able to answer this question. Really, it's two sides of the same coin. Is there a God? We answer that question looking at Psalm 111 and Psalm 19, astounded by God's natural revelation. Who hasn't seen a beautiful sunset and been absolutely awestruck at the magnitude of God's creation? I absolutely love this. In beginning, I'm back at Psalm 19 now. The heavens declare the glory of God. Something we drill down deep in the study this week. It is as if the creation is a constant worship service to Jesus Christ. And by the way, if you're like me, you probably come into worship a little late, if we're honest. It's like we're coming in late to the worship service, just looking around at God's creation. It's still going on. It's continuous. It says this declares God's power. Creation and the natural revelation that we talked about in Psalm 111, they declare God's presence, but that will only get us so far in answering this question, is there a God? Because we have to zero in on who is the manifestation of God. It is the person of Jesus Christ, fully God, fully man, according to the Scriptures. And that is where we see the personification of God coming in with his incarnation and changing our life. And so that's why this week we go from the larger question, is there a God, Psalm 111, Psalm 19, and we zero it right back to Jesus Christ. I want to end this teaching segment with a very important point. Psalm 111:7 says, the works of his hands are truth and justice. All his instructions are trustworthy. Pause right there. Are you in divine agreement? This is such an important application as we close this study. Psalm 111 is about the fact I need to get in divine agreement with God. That means I see things in my life as God sees them. I see my problems, I see my challenges as God sees them, and I get into divine agreement. All of your instructions are trustworthy, Lord. Do you know we can pray the Scriptures back to God? I need to get my lips and my heart in divine agreement. I see things, Lord, as you see it. I hear it as you hear it. I trust it as you would have me to. This is really a transactional psalm. It's not just watching how great God is. It's you taking God's hand and saying, I'm coming under your lordship, Lord. I'm coming under your authority. I want to be in divine agreement. It's a powerful thought. God bless you as you study this week in Psalm 19 and Psalm 111.